We are up, we are running on a Tuesday morning. This is Sunrise Extra. We have the Brenda, the Nina, myself, and who's the fourth person in the ring this morning? We have Alice Forbes. She's the executive director at Schoolhouse Supplies. Nina, Brenda, you both know that Schoolhouse Supplies has been the long-time nonprofit partner of our KGW School Supply Drive. So I think, Alice, the obvious question up front for people who may not be familiar with Schoolhouse Supplies is to explain what your organization does.
Well, at Schoolhouse Supplies, we help connect the community to public education, and we do that by providing free school supplies to the most economically disadvantaged schools in our community.
So how great is the need this year, Alice?
The need is always great, and this year it's even bigger. So what we're hearing from schools and teachers and principals is that not only do they need basic school supplies, art supplies like always, there are also more families who are really impacted by the pandemic. So more families can't afford to provide what they would have provided in the past for their kids. Kids need to have their own individual supplies, no classroom supplies. There won't be a little jar of pencils sitting out in a classroom. Everyone's going to need their own stuff. And a lot of schools are already requesting 2 sets of supplies for every student because they don't want kids carrying items back and forth between home and school.
I know Nina has a question for you this morning, Alice, but I just want to quickly jump in again in case you're just tuning in to Sunrise Extra. We are kicking off our KGW School Supply Drive today. I had to check the calendar this morning, Brenda and Nina, and my boys start their school year 5 weeks from yesterday. So that clock is ticking and ticking fast. And we know this is going to be an especially challenging year for students, for teachers, parents, the whole gang, as we still don't know how school is going to look when it restarts in the fall. But we do know that the KGW School Supply Drive continues on. And I know that you, Alice, were saying that you are still doing what you do. So here's real quickly ways you can donate. You can still donate cash this year at On Point Community Credit Union branches throughout the area. We're going to take that cash, turn around and buy supplies with it. You can also donate online at kgw.com/school. Great Clips is once again a terrific partner of our KGW School Supply Drive. They're actually donating 1,000 haircuts to some of the kids that receive school supplies from our drive. And then real quickly, some important information regarding this Thursday, because we're going to have the first of 2 tech drives during our school supply drive. So from 4 to 7 p.m. this Thursday, you can go to one of those 3 locations: the Intel campus in Aloha, the Safeway in West Lynn, or the On Point Community Credit Union branch there by Lloyd Center. And you can drop off used, old laptops, computers. Obviously, we want them to work. But if you're not using them anymore, if they're no longer useful to you, we know there are lots of kids in the area that could use them, because whether it's full-time or part-time, bottom line, kids are going to be working from home this year to kind of get that schoolwork done. Alice, I'll ask you one more question, because since I brought it up, that tech drive, how important is it for kids to get that technology this year? And I know it's not something that you yourself are collecting, but you're well aware of the need for that technology.
Oh, I think she lost her audio.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, maybe she can't hear us.
Now if we click on her screen sometimes, that helps. We just like kind of tap on that window. I could tell you yesterday, talking with Alice, Nina, and Brenda, I asked her, hey, what's like the #1 supply that you guys collect as a free store for teachers? Schoolhouse Supplies is that free store for teachers here in Portland.
Can I guess?
And yeah, go ahead.
Can we make it a game?
Yo, that'd be great. Good idea, Nina.
Okay. I'm going to go box of pencils. What do you think, Brenda?
Ooh, box of
#1.
pencils.
What is it, most donated supply or most given out?
The way I phrased the question to Alice was, what is the supply that is most needed by local teachers and students? To be fair, that's how it was phrased.
Okay.
You want to change your answer,
I guess I'll stick
Nina?
with pencils. What do you think, Brenda?
All right.
Most needed.
I kind of I wanted to kind of help you out here.
Those little German children.
I wanted to help you out, Brenda. I wanted to say the same answer as Nina.
There you go.
It pencils?
So it's pencils.
Okay.
Looking at our big board, #1 answer is pencils. And Alice said, you know, they ask kids all the time. You know, they want to stay up to date. They don't try to determine what the most needed supply is. They say they constantly ask the kids, what do you need? And she said most kids say pencils.
I wonder if that is going to change now. You know, if more of these, just take a sip.
What are you
refresh
drinking?
your mouth.
Just a sparkling water.
I mean,
okay.
Do you have any breakfast in there? You would
no,
like
just
to,
a sparkling water to wet my palate.
All right. It's cash.
What's your whistle?
I was talking about this the other day, and I wonder, like, all the stores are setting out all their, back to school stuff and like lunch boxes and backpacks. It's like, I don't think we're going to need those, really, if you're staying home.
Right.
And so I wonder how much schoolwork is literally going to be done with a pencil. I guess maybe if you're printing off worksheets or, you're practicing math is always done, with pencils. But with all this online learning, it's going to be interesting to kind of see what goes fast this year.
Our school district, the one our boys go to school in, the Westland-Wilsonville School District, has a setup right now that I think a lot of districts have presented to parents. It's one of two choices. You can do a hybrid model where your child would go to school a few days each week and then would learn from home the other days of the week. They're basically splitting the school in half, and half of the kids would go 3 days a week, the other half would go 2 days, and then
We'll
the
find
following
out if
week.
they can even go in person.
But that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're giving people the option right now because they need to know, parents, what would you like to do? Would you
Who
like
is
that
on
option?
the okay side, and
Or would you prefer to stay home 100% of the time? In our district, they're saying, hey, if you go with that 100% online model, they're asking that you commit to it for the entire year. So parents are really needing to make a choice now in August for something that will last through next June. But can I say one more thing? Because the superintendent,
We have to read some of these comments,
okay,
but go
the superintendent of that district has all but come out and said, bottom line, whichever you choose, your kid's not going to start school in September in school. I mean, they haven't said that point blank yet, but they've said everything but that. I mean, they're basically pointing us in the direction of be prepared. September is not going to be in-school learning.
Yeah, and everybody seems to agree with that. Kevin Nicholson on our stream, good morning to you, says no one in their right mind is sending their kids back to school. You will be reporting empty classrooms soon. And let's see, we have another one. Rose Portugal says, oh wait, no, that's a different one. Shoot, I just lost it. Apologies. Rose, where'd you go?
Apology accepted, Brenda.
Oh, here it is. She says, I don't think many kids will be going to public school, especially with parents who are worried about their kids and COVID-19. So, yeah. It's rough. I keep saying I feel for all you parents who have kids, in the classrooms. Not only are they missing their teachers and missing their friends and missing the social impact of it, but, some of the teachers that I know, it's just not the best way to learn. So kids, in some instances, are falling behind. Then you have the whole technology stuff that we've talked about, where not everybody has equal access, and it's just a big fat mess. People are trying to make contingency plans and do the best that they can.
Well, the reason we're talking about this today, and I'm sure that this topic will become more and more talked about as we get closer to that last week of August, first week of September, when schools throughout the area will be going back to school, whether that means going back to school virtually or in person. We all agree that the in-person option is highly unlikely at this point. But we're bringing it up today because today is also day one of our annual KGW School Supply Drive. We've been doing this for more than a dozen years now, always with great success thanks to our viewers who have given so generously over the years. We're doing this differently this year because typically we would say, hey, drop off supplies at a number of different area locations. We are not taking physical supplies this year. That's just not the safe thing to do here in 2020, but we are still accepting your cash because cash still works and it can lead us to buying supplies for kids throughout the area. So you can donate cash at any local On Point Community Credit Union branch. It's also really easy to hop on our website. The page that's dedicated to this is kgw.com/school, and you can donate cash there. And we've talked about this over the years. The number hasn't changed. A $25 donation will set up one student in the area for the entire year with all the supplies they need. And that's because organizations like Schoolhouse Supplies that we talked about earlier, they can stretch those dollars. As a nonprofit, they can really stretch those dollars and bring in a lot of supplies for very few dollars and cents. So again, a $25 donation would set up one student in the area for the entire year with all the supplies they need.
We're trying to get Alice, is it Alice Bear back on, or Alice Forbes, I'm sorry,
yes.
Back on the phone with us because she was having some Zoom connectivity issues, but she's with Schoolhouse Supplies. In the meantime, today is kind of a big day for schools. At 1:30 today, Governor Kate Brown is going to be meeting with some health experts and the Oregon Education Department to talk about, they're calling it the health and safety metrics that would need to have be in place to open any kind of in-person classes this fall. So what the COVID infection rate needs to be, how often it's passing along, how many cases, where the state would mandate it to have any kind of in-person classes. We've seen big groups of teachers, and there's a massive Facebook group of teachers who want to see 14 days, so 2 weeks, of 0 new cases in the entire state or in their district.
Right. I think that's important to point out.
Is it in their district?
Yeah, they're basically
okay,
saying
in their
in
district to open any in-person classes. So stay tuned for that. We're going to be bringing that to you streamed live today at 1:30.
I think it would be. Go ahead, Brenda.
No, Jennifer Taft is online, and she says, I started crying in Target, I guess. I'm a teacher. I love back to school fun stuff. This year, more anxiety than joy. And then she says, LOL, but I feel you, girl. I'm sorry about all that.
Yeah, got to be so stressful for sure.
It is important to point out because I think it would be an unrealistic ask if the teachers wanted to see 2 straight weeks of no new cases before kids return to class throughout the entire state. But they are breaking it down district by district. So they're saying, hey, if our individual district can see 2 straight weeks with no new cases, then those teachers would be more comfortable going back to the classroom. Until then, they don't want any parts of it. And that's another thing that schools are saying, hey, listen, there are a lot of teachers, some of them older, some of them at risk, who don't want to come back to the classroom right now. And if they're not there in the classroom, then you don't have the teachers to teach the kids. It just doesn't, I don't see, and like many of our viewers are saying today on the Facebook stream, I don't see how it could be possible to have in-person learning here in just a few weeks.
Yeah, Jennifer weighs in again and she says, outdoor school, maybe in the parks, why not?
Yeah, well, the weather.
Yeah, well, there is that, but to start.
Do you know, Drew, if the school supply drive, and I'm hearing we do have Alice back, and maybe she can actually answer this question. Hi, Alice, welcome back. Can you hear us now?
I'll believe Alice is there when I see her.
Can you hear us?
Boom, boom. What's your question, Nina? And maybe we'll work on getting Alice.
Do you know if, there she is. We'll see if she can hear us. Chime in, Alice, if you can hear us, whenever. So, Drew, do you know if the school supply drive takes, I know we're doing this thing of, the separate thing of, donate your used laptops or computers or anything. Do they buy new stuff for kids with the money?
Well, we've always bought supplies because we get probably.
But like tech supplies?
That I don't know. I was hoping to avoid that part of the detail.
Sorry.
I had an answer for you, but it was going to kind of go around it. No, I don't know the answer to that. Are we spending some of that money that's received this year from the drive on actual technology?
Like tablets or something?
You would think yes. You would think yes. I just know in the past we haven't done that because we haven't even needed to think about that.
Right.
But this year, what we are definitely doing, starting this Thursday, as a matter of fact, we're holding tech drives. We have 2 planned at the present time. The first one to help kick off the school supply drive on Thursday is going to happen for 3 hours from 4 p.m. until 7 p.m. and it's going to happen at 3 different locations throughout the area. We have the Aloha Intel campus for one, the Safeway in West Lynn for another, and the On Point Community Credit Union branch at Lloyd Center. Again, this Thursday, you can go to any one of those 3 places and donate technology. Donate your used laptops, your old computers, whatever it is that you're no longer using but is still in working order. Free Geek is on board with us this year, so Free Geek is going to be at these locations accepting those donations. They're going to clean them out. They're going to clean off the hard drives, so it's a safe donation, and they'll make sure that local kids who need those pieces of technology this year get those pieces of technology.
Okay, 3rd time's the charm.
You think?
I'm hoping. Alice, can you hear us now?
I can.
Excellent. Excellent.
And it sounds like we can hear you twice maybe, which is fine. I'd rather hear you twice than not at all. Next question for you, Alice, and we were talking about this when we couldn't hear you. We talked about the supplies that are most in need. And you were telling me yesterday that it's pencils. Pencils are still the #1 asked for supply by teachers and students. Is that right?
That's right.
Do you foresee that changing at all with all this online kind of need?
Well, I should say, even though pencils are always at the top of the list is really long, and there's no items that only 1 or 2 people are asking for. So, as everyone knows from having gone to school or sending your own kids back to school, you need a lot in order to do your work and do your homework.
So is it better? And this is more a logistical question during all these pandemics. I know we're doing this as safely as possible with distancing and whatnot, but is it better for you guys, for people just to go online and give a cash donation with everything that's going on? Do you have a preference one way or the other?
You know, there's probably no nonprofit out there that wouldn't say a financial donation is very much appreciated. So that's fantastic. If folks can do that, But we also set up a virtual supply drive on our website this year, schoolhousesupplies.org. So those folks who love picking out new school supplies do it virtually on our website.
Really quickly, Alice, one of the pleasures of doing the Sunrise Extra streaming show is that we get to hear from our viewers live as we're doing the show, and they're always weighing in with comments about the topics. Today, obviously, we're talking about back to school. So I do have a back to school supply drive question for you in a moment, but let's hear from first Amy Walker, who says, if childcare can do it, meaning get kids back together in a physical setting, if childcare can do it, then schools can do it. We have been open, talking about her particular child care center, we have been open the whole time and have not had any problems as long as you have the right protocol. I guess my first thing on that would be, I'm sure that your child care facility has far fewer kids in there than any one school would have. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, we're talking about, in some cases, thousands of kids entering one building, right? So, Alice, the next question for you, talking about our KGW School Supply Drive. Over the years, we've done this now for more than a dozen years with you as the nonprofit partner. And I'm always curious, you know, how big of a difference does this school supply drive make? We talk it up as being the greatest thing. We believe in it. We feel great about doing it. But really, how impactful is this school supply drive for local students and teachers?
This is huge. We have classrooms here in Portland and around Oregon that don't have anything in them. They've got a great teacher and great students, and they just need a few resources to be able to get to work. And that's what the KGW School Supply Drive, the viewers, the participants, all of the donors are providing for kids and teachers around Oregon, is a chance to just do well in the classroom and learn.
Alice, is there something that we haven't asked you yet that we should? Because thousands of people throughout the day are going to be watching this stream and listening to you. What do you want to say to them?
I want to say thank you for all the many years of support. And this is a really unprecedented year with a really high need. And any support that individuals can provide is greatly appreciated and really has a big impact.
I have a question for you, Alice, because your organization, Schoolhouse Supplies, specifically helps teachers and their students here in Portland. But when we talk about the KGW School Supply Drive, we talk about it being a statewide event, also helping kids in Southwest Washington. So how does that work exactly? How does the money, say, if I make a donation in Newport at my local Safeway, how does that stay local?
Well, when Safeway customers give or on-point members give in their communities, whether it's McMinnville or Bend or anywhere around Oregon and Southwest Washington, we use our purchasing power. We work with each school district, and then we have supplies delivered to each school district in those communities to support kids and teachers in their own communities.
Talk about what it's like in your warehouse now. I mean, I think we got the chance to go there last year and do a fun collection event and kind of pack some backpacks for some kids. I mean, are you having to literally, like, you know, glove up, obviously mask up, and like sanitize everything that comes in? Or are you just getting like boxes from somewhere like Amazon and then, you know, distributing them and just, you know, kind of straight from the box?
Well, as you know, in past years, a typical supply drive-in would have all sorts of different supplies in it. So We're still getting donations like that. We need to sort them and separate them. We have a whole safety protocol. So everything that comes in gets quarantined before we touch it, and anything that gets distributed gets quarantined before anyone else touches it. So like everybody, we've just created new systems to handle the product that comes in and goes out.
Real quickly, Mark Rivers chiming in on the Facebook live stream this morning. Mark says, geez, you know, back in the day, the only thing we had to worry about during back to school time was head lice.
Right?
And the only reason I bring that up, that's kind of a timely comment, because Great Clips is one of our partners in the school supply drive. Alice, I don't know how familiar you are with Great Clips participation, but there has been some confusion over the years, because we always talk about Great Clips donating 1,000 haircuts to local students. And people think, oh, I could just show up and get a free haircut from Great Clips. It's not that. They are helping the students that get support from the school supply drive, correct? So how do kids get one of those free haircuts? Do you know, Alice, from Great Clips?
Well, in the past, Great Clips has provided actual coupon vouchers that have been distributed to the different school districts. So kids would be able to get vouchers from their schools or the school district offices. So it depends on the specific community how they're distributing those.
But for example, if a school is receiving supplies from our school supply drive to distribute to students, they would also be receiving these free haircut vouchers from Great Clips.
They may, yes.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to clear that up because there are still some people who think they can walk in during the school supply drive time and get a free haircut from Great Clips. It's not that. It's about helping the kids who could use that haircut as we get back to school. Alice Forbes has been joining us this morning. She is the Executive Director for Schoolhouse Supplies. Alice, we are running up against the clock because we have some Today Show cut-ins that Brenda has to take care of this morning, but I think it's important to remind our viewers how they can give this year. We are doing this a little bit differently. We're not collecting physical supplies. We're not asking you to donate those physical supplies this year, but we are still accepting cash donations at all local On Point Community Credit Union branches. We're also accepting those cash donations on our website. You can go right now to kgw.com/school. You can make that donation there. Starting next week, I believe it is August the 8th through August the 28th. So for 20 straight days, when you're shopping at Safeway, at the end of that purchase, you have the opportunity to give cash right at the register. And I know Safeway has been such a valuable partner because people are very generous, it turns out, at the end of that grocery purchase, and we've collected a lot of dollars over the years from that little part of the equation. And again, Alice, can you explain when people make that Safeway donation, how actually those dollars, be it a $3, a $5, or $1 donation, how that helps local kids?
Every one of those donations adds up, and when you donate at Safeway, you're supporting kids at your local schools, whether it's in a traditional classroom, through a homeless or a migrant education program. Each school district determines where exactly those supplies go, and they are definitely filling the highest needs.
She is Alice Forbes, Executive Director for Schoolhouse Supplies, our longtime nonprofit partner in the KGW School Supply Drive. Alice, thanks for working through some of those technical kinks and joining us this morning on Sunrise Extra. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you tomorrow. Sunrise Extra on a Wednesday coming your way in roughly 24 hours.